What's up, guys? So I've been threatening to do this for a while now and I just never did, and I decided tonight was the night. I'm going to take you along with me while I touch up my funky roots. I've never recorded the whole process before, so I am going to film the whole process. I don't know how much of it is going to make it into the actual video, but rather than doing that TikTok style quick cut with captions and stuff, I'm going to just walk through the whole process as I do it. I don't normally talk when I'm dyeing my hair, so I don't know how this is going to go, but we will see. I got myself a little suction cup tripod on Amazon. It came with a little bonus light, which is kind of cool. The lighting is not bad in my bathroom, but this little additional light is nice, and it makes the light a little bit warmer because the lighting in here is kind of cold. Anyway, so this is my hair right now as I bump into the developer. These are my roots. Not too bad. 1/4 inch, maybe more. It always looks worse on my temples. My hair is 2 days dirty to protect my scalp a little bit with the natural oils that build up. I find that is less irritating. My particular formula has gold in it, and I've always found over the years that formulas that contain gold are more irritating on the scalp for tender-headed people like me. So in addition to 2 days dirty hair, I'm also going to be using this Ion Color Brilliance Sensitive Scalp Additive, and I'm going to put this right in with my color, and I have found that helps prevent my scalp from getting irritated as well. So let's go over the formula. Today I'm just going to be touching up my roots. So I found that in general, on the average head, you need about 2 ounces of dye and 2 ounces of developer to cover all of your roots. Now, I'm not pulling it through my ends. My ends are fine. They don't really need to be brightened up, and I don't typically dye my mids and ends with permanent color, so I just need to cover my roots. So I'm going to mix up 2 ounces of dye with 2 ounces of developer, and that should be more than enough. And my formula this time is going to be 1 ounce of 7-stroke 4-3, which is medium blonde gold red. Oh, and these are the Wella Colston Perfect dyes. 1 ounce of 8-stroke 4-3, which is light blonde red gold. And then that's 2 ounces, but I'm also going to do a little dash of additives as well. So to that, I'm going to add a little squeeze of 0-stroke 30, which is gold natural, and 0-stroke 4-3, which is red gold. So these are kind of like boosters. They just kind of enhance the color. So I'm going to glove up because I always forget to glove up before I mix, and then my hands are instantly stained. So that's the first thing I'm going to do. And I will be mixing this root formula with 30 volume. I am about a level 5 dark brown naturally, so in order to lift my roots suitably, I need at least a 30 volume, and I'm using the Wella Perfect for that. And you should always shake your developer before you use it if it's been sitting there, which typically for those of us that do our roots with permanent color, it has been since the last time we touched up our roots, so you should always shake it up first. And I'm just going to measure out my color, and I will show it to you once it's in the bowl. I will also be adding Olaplex to my formula, and then after I rinse out my color, I will be doing the Olaplex number 2 treatment, and then hopping in the shower for a shampoo and a condition, which is what you're supposed to do after you use Olaplex number 1 and number 2. So that's 1 ounce of the 7-stroke 3-4, 1 ounce of the 8-stroke 4-3, and then a small ribbon each of the stroke 3-0 and stroke 4-3 in the bowl. I'm just eyeballing it at this point, but I'd say that's about 2 1/8 ounces. I don't even think it's 2 1/4 ounces. So we're doing roughly 2 1/4 ounces of developer, give or take a drop or 2. Always mix your color and your developer together thoroughly before adding your Olaplex number 1. And the result is something slightly lighter and brighter than pumpkin pie filling. So let's get started. I'm just going to section my hair and apply it to my roots. Oh, always make sure that you comb out any tangles before you get started. My hair is naturally wavy, but the 2 days dirtiness is kind of holding it down. But if your hair is curly or wavy, you might want to straighten it a little bit. It does make the process a little bit easier, just easier to see where you've been and where you're going. But when it's just a super short root like this, it's not as important, but you just don't want to have any tangles in your hair. So here we go. Got my little black sheet back there protecting the towels and stuff. My favorite product, which is the Rue Clean Touch hair color stain remover. This is amazing, not only on your skin, but on your countertops and your floor and your walls and everything else. All right, here we go. I am using my phone screen as a mirror. Let's hope I don't regret that. Although the wall behind where you are, you're stuck to a giant mirror, so I really don't need to do that. But if I don't, I'm going to be looking off to the side or somewhere else. So, but I can pretty much do this from muscle memory nowadays. And yeah, I'm overlapping a little bit, but it doesn't really matter. It's not bleach, so not a big deal. And I'm gonna comb it through a little bit, and that will just blend that overlap out a bit. I'm not worried about it. I always like to comb it out a little bit just to make sure that I didn't miss any areas. And if I'm gonna miss a spot, of course, it's always gonna be right around my hairline, like right where my stupid widow's peak is, or over here at my temples, somewhere where if I pull it back, you're gonna see it immediately. So I have to be careful in those areas. I am going to section with my comb. I am not going to section with the end of the brush because I have found that every time you go to do this, you're more likely to spot or hair dye everywhere. My hair is going to be a mess by the end of this. My hair is fine, but I have a lot of it, and it always gets really tangly when I'm sectioning it and slapping dye on. Did I hear color drop on the floor already? Oh. Some things never change. You know, some people section horizontally like I do. Some people section vertically. I've heard that that's better or easier. Because I'm used to doing it this way, it really isn't easier for me, although I guess if I practiced, I could get better at vertical sectioning. And also, people tend to go back through and cross-check. I don't do that. I don't care that much. Like, I want it to look good and I want it to be precise, but I'm not sitting here going through all the sections I already did and sectioning them the opposite direction and cross-checking. Ain't nobody got time for that. In fact, sometimes I don't even use the brush. I just put it on with my hands. And I'm just doing the front section right now. After this, I will do the back. And I'm taking pretty small, fine sections. That way, I'm less likely to miss a spot, even though I don't go back and cross-check. And I'm doing the underside of the part that I flipped up, as well as the top side of the next section, so everything gets good and covered and saturated. This is not a tutorial, this is just the way that I do it. So people have asked because y'all are curious. So yeah, this is my super professional technique. I am wholly self-taught. No professional experience whatsoever. I did one of my friend's hair for prom one year. That's about all the experience I have working on other people. I only work on my own hair. That way if I screw it up, nobody to blame but myself. And if you see my parts getting wonky as I'm sectioning, it's not bald spots or anything. I just have a ton of cowlicks. And so my hair doesn't always cooperate when I want to section it straight, which can make prepping to trim my bangs a pain in the butt, because I do have to section out the front area of my hair in order to do that, and sometimes it just doesn't want to cooperate. I'm just going to go back around my hairline after I do the front area here. Make sure it's all covered. This is weird. I've never filmed myself doing the whole process before. Probably gonna look back at this and go, what was with my expressions? And I'm usually listening to music and singing badly and having a hair dyeing and dance party in the bathroom. So never really felt like filming the whole process. And as this oxidizes, it gets darker. Some of these reds and coppers actually oxidize brown. This has little streaks of brown in it, but it hasn't turned fully brown yet. But sometimes they will turn brown as they oxidize on your head. So if you're like me and you have fear of your copper or red hair turning brown, don't panic if your copper hair dye starts to oxidize brown. That's just the processing. And some red dyes oxidize purple. In my experience, the professional dyes that oxidize purple usually have violet in them, so they're usually like a red violet or a red violet, as opposed to the copper dyes, which are red orange or red gold. But when it comes to the box dyes, I've had some box dyes that are copper that oxidized purple, so I guess maybe it's just the different chemical makeup of them. But these, the Wella Colston Perfect line, tend to oxidize either a darker orange or on the browner side, so I'm used to that by now. I feel like I need just a little bit more there. Yeah, the 2 ounces of dye to 2 ounces of developer is just the right amount to cover the average head of roots. And she's already starting to get tangled. Just wait until I have to flip it back over and do the other side. It's gonna be a hot mess. And yes, I'm a shedder to begin with, so I do lose hair while I am doing my roots. It's not uncommon. If you bleach your roots, you know you will lose a few hairs. It's just either natural shedding or, you know, a hair or two that's more damaged than the rest just snapping off. It doesn't mean that they're necessarily falling out from your scalp. They're usually just snapping off. So I have a little bit of breakage right along my part, probably just from heat styling, because I do tend to diffuse my hair when I want to really bring out the waves. I do use a heat protectant, but it doesn't always help. I'm going to double check the hairline on this side in the mirror, so I'm just going to... Okay, and now to flip this whole mess back over, and this is where it tends to get super friggin' tangled. As I try to reset my center part so I don't miss any spots. Yep, and she is a hot tangled mess now. What are you doing? Oh, you eating? It's my cat in the other room. She just jumped off the bed with a flourish. Oh my God, so tangled. Look at this. Why? Why does it always do this? It's actually not as bad as it usually is. I guess that means my hair is getting healthier because it's not tangling as easily. I need to wipe my face. Where are my paper towels? Ah, I put my bowl on top of them. That was smart. I'll try to remember to wipe off as I go, just so that it doesn't set in on my skin, but this stuff is amazing. Oh, she's starting to burn a little bit. Yep, even with the sensitive scalp protector, the golds tend to burn more, at least in my experience. I'm not really sure why that is. When I was red violet, and then when I first went copper, I wasn't using as much gold in my formula. It was definitely more of like a red copper, and it didn't burn nearly as much. But as I've gone more over towards a gingery golden copper, it definitely irritates my scalp more. All right, small slices. You can never make your sections too thin. And here is where my natural cowlicks start fighting my precise sectioning, because they're like, nope. All right, well, you have a pretty good idea of how this goes. So I am going to just finish the rest of my roots off camera. I can show you how I do the back. It's not really that complicated. I don't even use a second mirror anymore. I just kind of do it by feel. So I can just show you that real quick once I'm done with the front and side sections. So I'm going to just turn this off for right now. So as I said, this is not a tutorial, but I will answer a couple of questions / give a little advice of stuff that you guys have asked me in the past. In the beginning, when I first started out, I found out that it makes it a lot easier to do the back of your head if you position another mirror behind you and have a mirror in front of you and one behind you. Then you can see exactly what you're doing. Now I pretty much just do it by feel. All I do is just hold up my hair, start at the bottom, and go across. So I'll do the base of my hairline, I'll make a slice, and then I'll do that, the top and the bottom, then I'll make another slice and just go up until I reach where I stopped when I was doing the front section. So I'll just show you real quickly. It's not going to be super precise because obviously I can't see what I'm doing, but it works for me. So, and plus I kind of feel like what the back of my head looks like is none of my business anyway. I mostly care about the part that I can see and the part that most people see. So when I'm done doing the front and side sections of my roots, I like to just kind of go through and massage. I buy these tattooing gloves. They're one of the few brands that come in an extra small because I have freakishly small hands, and even small gloves are too big on me. And they're very, very touch sensitive. So if I'm massaging through my scalp, I can feel if there's a dry spot that I missed. So I like to do that. That's my cross-checking, I guess. So that's what I'm gonna do right now. And then I will turn around and really quickly show you a little bit of me doing the back. It's not really that exciting. So I'm just gonna pick my hair up like this. And I already did down and behind my ears when I was doing the front. And then I'm just gonna start like this. And I just kind of go along, covering the roots by feel, like that. And then I will start on one side with a finger and just slide in from either side. Take a non-precise thin slice like that. I have no idea if that's a straight line. I can't see it. I don't care. And then go back in and do the same. Just paint down here and up here. And I have no idea what this looks like because I've never seen myself do it. Not by feel, anyway. I've seen myself do it when I have a mirror behind me. So that's what it looks like doing the back of my head. And I'll just continue all the way up until I hit where I stopped when I was doing the front and the sides. So I'm gonna finish that and then I'll show you when it's all put on. So once I'm done with the back, I will go around with an old powder compact and like turn around and use this to make sure that I didn't miss any obvious spots in the back. Yeah, not gonna lie, I finished the back just using my hands. I didn't even finish it with a brush because I was lazy. I did a pretty good job this time, not making a huge mess of my skin. So there's that. I'm usually very messy hair dyer. Now I will process this for 45 minutes. I will go and rinse it out over the side of the tub. And I will put in my Olaplex number 2 on towel dried hair. And it says to leave it in, I believe it's 10 minutes and up. So you don't want to leave it in for any less than 10 minutes. Usually what I'll do, depending on the time that I'm doing this, is I'll put it in and I'll just kind of twist my hair up in a clip and go do some chores and stuff. Leave it on for 20-25 minutes. I've left it on while I ate dinner for like 45 minutes and then hop in the shower, wash, and condition. So after I'm done applying it, I'm not going to scrape my hair up into a tight bun, and I'm not going to put a bag on my head or a processing cap on my head and push it down, because that keeps the air from getting in. That's not what you want. You want the air to be able to get to it, because oxidative dye needs air to process. So what I did was I spritzed a little bit of water inside my processing cap before I put it on. I just loosely clipped my hair back, because I also don't want the mids and ends that are not getting dyed smushing up against the roots that are getting dyed, because then there's going to be blotches on them. And the spritz of water inside of it, combined with the heat from your scalp, is going to create sort of a steamy environment, and that's going to keep the color moist. You don't want the color to dry out while it's processing, because some colors will stop processing entirely and others will just process unevenly if they dry out during the processing. If you have different spots on your head that it dries out and it stays moist in other areas, you're going to end up with uneven color results, because it's going to stop processing in the spots where it dried out. Very similar to when you're bleaching your hair. You don't want to like mush it all together, because you're going to get blotchy spots, first of all, and second of all, bleach and permanent dye work on the same principle, that they need air to process and they have to stay moist. Because bleach especially, once bleach dries out, it just stops processing entirely. So if you have any spots where it's squished in and it dries out, those areas are not going to lift as bright as the areas where it stays moist. And now I'm going to process for 45 minutes, and I will be back to show you the final result. It'll be 45 minutes for me. For you, it'll be a second. Okay, after the fact, Gina here, realizing that she left out some stuff. Don't try this at home, kids. You'll go blind. So, a little bit more detail about the colors. I think I misspoke when I first rattled these off at the beginning. I think I said 7-stroke 4-3, and that is not what I have. I have 7-stroke 3-4. This is medium blonde gold red, and that's the first color that I have. And then the other main color that I have is the 8-stroke 4-3, and that is light blonde red gold. Now I usually mix 8-stroke 3-4 with 7-stroke 3-4, but I'm adding a little bit more red to my formula this time. Those are a level 7 and a level 8 coppery blonde, respectively, and that's represented by the 7 before the stroke 4-3. So that's level 7, that's level 8. And these additives that I was talking about before, they both have a 0 before the stroke, because they don't have a level. They are pure pigments. So I called them boosters, but in the strictest terms, these are pure pigments. They don't have any level or depth. They are just straight up color. The 0-stroke 4-3 is a straight up red gold, and the 0-stroke 3-0 is a gold natural. And this is actually the first time using this formula. This is a new formula for me. I changed it slightly. I went for the 8-stroke 4-3 instead of the 8-stroke 3-4, which is what I would usually go for. I don't usually go darker in the fall like most people do, but sometimes I'll go a little redder as opposed to a little golder in the summertime. I'm dyeing my eyebrows this time. I haven't done that in a while. I usually darken up the formula a little bit, but I'm just winging it this time, so hopefully they don't look horrible, but I can always fix that with a little bit of eyebrow pen, so I'm not too worried about it. But yeah, I just wanted to elaborate on the colors a little bit there, and back to processing. Just popping back in, processing time is over 45 minutes, and this is what it looks like when it's done oxidizing before you rinse it out. It's kind of like terracotta, slightly lighter and brighter than a dark red kidney bean. I don't know how to describe it, but this is what it looks like. So it's the next day, and this is how it turned out, albeit a little windblown from being outside, but it is a vibrant copper, but definitely more on the red side this time around. Very deep, but not dark. I'll try to do like a side-by-side before and after at the end of this video. So yeah, I'm really happy with it, and it's super shiny. Like, This hair dye is amazing, and that combined with the Olaplex, my hair feels fine. I mean, like I said, it's a little windblown, but yeah, it's shiny and healthy. I didn't really have too many hairs that broke off. So yeah, awesome experience. I love, love, love those Wella Reds. Thanks for coming along with me while I touched up my roots. Let me know if there's anything else that you'd like to see regarding this whole situation. Ask me any questions in the comments. If you'd like me to do like a Q&A video where you guys send me questions regarding dyeing your hair at home or dyeing your hair copper or red or whatever, I can read your questions and then answer them and make that into a video. Or I could even do like a live or something if you guys have enough questions that you think you'd like to ask me about this process. I have been dyeing my hair at home since I was 15. I just started using professional products, I don't know, 10 years ago now, maybe longer than that. And I just started using the Wella Reds about a year ago. And I really feel like it's changed my copper game, because I think so far they're the best ones that I've tried. The Schwarzkopf Agora Royale line is also pretty good, but I just have never gotten the depth and the vibrance and the richness that I get with the Wella Reds from any other line of dyes, professional or otherwise. And what do you think of how it turned out? So here's the finished result in bright, direct sunlight. And here's what it looks like with the sun behind me. It's nice and rich, coppery, gingery, a little bit more on the red side than last time I did my roots. So I'm happy with it. This is slept on natural waves. So